I wanted to defend myself a little bit. Not that I didn't very, very, very much enjoy my conversation with Steve Eisman of The Big Short. And in fact, I will be going on his show, I think. However, I do want to defend my position on that show, okay? I want to stand up for it because on that show, we said a couple things back and forth, and it's only been a week. And there already has been a lot of interesting follow-ups. There was a lot of hand-waving, I felt, that, you know, maybe to someone only looking at tone would be like, well, it sounds like he's got to figure it out. But if you actually listen to what's being said, I found it to be pretty interesting. He had 3 things, okay? Number 1, it'll only go bad if we have a trade war with China. This is a direct quote from the episode. Number 2 was he said, I could see the consumer getting worse if unemployment rose, which has been my position for a long time, that unemployment is rising and will continue to rise. And then number 3, and this is a big crux of his argument. I think I was very interested in what he was saying here and I listened closely to it, but the core of the argument here was that after 2008, we got new rules for the banks. And with the new rules, banks are no longer as susceptible to taking on bad debt. They have to have more, what you would call tier 1 capital, which is like easily accessible funds to make sure they can handle any shakes in the market and they can cover up any small amounts of losses, and they have a lot more stability. They still have a certain amount of leverage, but it's not an insane amount like it used to be. So I just want to go through a few things that happened. These are like news items from this week after the interview. Now, this is all stuff you could have talked about going into it, but number 1, this is Friday. Now, Trump is not, he's wishy-washy. I don't doubt it. But the US and China trade war is clearly escalating again because China has ramped up its blocking of rare earth metals, and in response, US has threatened a 100% increase in tariff November 1st. Now, Trump has not backed down from that yet, though he is still planning to meet with Xi Jinping. I'm sure they'll find some middle ground, hopefully, and slow this down, but it's clearly escalating. The direction of travel is towards more escalation, more decoupling with China. If you were to flash forward 1 year, 2 years, do you think we're more integrated with China or less? I think it's less. I think the direction of travel is that we are getting more decoupled. The world is becoming more polarized and not more unipolar, okay? That's number 1. Let's give that a check mark. But there's still 2 more things. Now, number 2, the BLS statistics are not being reported because our government is shut down. I don't know if you were to weigh the odds here, if that's good or bad for the economy, but I would say bad. Our government is shut down, headed towards possibly our longest term shutdown. But our unemployment rate is at a near 4-year high. We are in a no hire, some fire economy. And we are having, on the data we can see, a surge in long-term unemployment, ringing alarm bells. Okay, this is from 10 days ago. People are getting fired and not able to find a new job. It's not that there's like completely no jobs, and it's not like people are all getting laid off all at once, but the people that are getting fired or are getting laid off or are trying to leave their job are finding it very difficult in finding a new job. So slowly but surely, the long-term unemployment is trickling up. And obviously that's a snowball effect, so it can get faster. As hiring slows, more Americans are job hunting for months. It's going to take a small miracle. So I would say, again, also the ADP data, not the BLS data, but the ADP data came out and it was miserable. It was a contraction in private sector jobs. So I would say, again, maybe it's not right now this second, but the direction of travel on unemployment is up. It's not looking like it's getting better. It looks like it's getting worse. And then the last thing, this is the key crux of the argument, was after 08, we have new rules at the bank. Now, I talked about during the thing about how banks are hiding rising defaults in things like auto, credit card, buy now, pay later, student loan, CRE, but those aren't the biggest chunk of what a bank has. They have a pretty big diversified portfolio. Even if those things had high default rates, does that really impact the bank? I'm not 100%, I don't know. But overall, there's new rules. They have to have a certain amount of safe capital to cover their losses. Now, here's the update from today. Bank deregulation set to unlock 2.6 trillion of Wall Street lending capacity, a significant easing of post-financial crisis rules. If you read this article, it is specifically about how the Trump administration is rolling back the 2008 financial crisis rules that require banks to keep a certain amount of tier 1 capital. It gives a capacity to absorb losses. They now can loan more. They don't need to keep as much on their books as is safekeeping. They can just go crazy with loans. Again, a huge amount of these loans, by the way, are going to go straight into the AI boom or bubble, depending on how you define it. These loans are going to go straight into building and funding more data centers. Now, if that works out great, Great. If not, it's even more risk. While other banks in Europe are tightening lending standards, they are requiring banks to be more safe and lend out less, America is going hog wild. We are removing all restrictions and saying you can go crazy and spend and spend and spend, and you don't need to have so many on your books. So this is all happening now. So I would say all three of these things indicate some level of risk that is being mispriced. And I will say this, when I was in the car with Steve Eisman after the podcast, and I was talking to him more about it as we were driving, I'm not going to pretend to know his mind state, but he did say this to me. You know, I was trying to dig into more details, like why he believed what he said on the show. I was like, man, you know, what do you think about this? Like, how do you understand? He didn't use me as an example. He used, he's like, look, Ray Dalio may have billions and more dollars than me, but one thing he doesn't have is a movie. Everybody wants to predict the next short, okay? But I did it. And there's only one Steve Eisman, which I think is badass. But it does indicate to me that he is really proud. Based on the way he was talking, he's really proud of being the guy. And he doesn't like the fact that I opened the segment by calling it The Bigger Short and having the Jenga blocks. And I don't think he liked it. I think I got the sense that he's like, this is my shit. This is my area. Don't. And that's fine. That's fine. I thought he would be more playful with it, but I get it. I understand. And I really did like our conversation. And you know what? He can 100% be right. But I just don't think the arguments he made are holding water with what I'm seeing now. I do think he might have more interest in what I'm saying than maybe he let on, because the second he got back home, his very next episode of the Real Eisman Playbook started like this.
We're going to see further deterioration in cars. We're going to see further deterioration in credit cards. We're going to see further deterioration in buy now, pay later. People are stressed, and that's going to have an impact on the economy.
That's exactly verbatim what I said on the show, okay? That's word for word. I had Jenga blocks that said buy now, pay later, auto, credit card, and I wanna just get across that I don't think I'm crazy here, that I'm like, oh, I just last thing. This is not about, again, I think Steve Eisman we can go back and forth all day. I like talking to him. He knows his shit. It's incredible. It's fun. But some commenters who don't understand either side, I find annoying. And one thing I saw that kind of pissed me off was people were like, H-Rock just took these takes from the FT. H-Rock just read the FT and repeated the takes. First of all, I want to say two things. If you are a Twitch streamer who only read the FT and repeated the takes, you would be the #1 most intelligent Twitch streamer there is. Okay? That would be a 100x bar increase for this hell site. It is a very well-respected, good publication. It is my daily driver and I read it every day, and I do really like the FT. I got no problem with that, and I'll stand on business. Don't you dare come at one of the best publications there is pound for pound and act like, oh, but no, I want to just stand on business here and say I did an insane amount of research for that because I wanted to make sure I had my shit ready, including, I'm going to pull it up here. Give me 1 second because I have to go back into the catalog. So this, now I haven't released this yet, but this is.
So a non-performing loan is either 90 days past due accruing fee and interest in.
This is a 3-hour conversation with Bill Moreland, okay? A 17-year bank regulator who's walking me through deep financial data. Now, this guy has clients that include central bankers, top bank executives, and he walked me through point by point what he's seeing in the data, which is what I presented, okay? And I gave him credit on the show. This is not like I saw an article and I went after this story, and I fully believe there's some real shit here. I think banks are being shady, which is what Bill Moreland talks about in this long form interview. Again, I will be releasing this, maybe not the full thing, but we're making a video off of it. I've been really slow. I apologize. I've been slow on editing it all down, but it's fascinating. I mean, it's
or non-accrual. So when we say that you modified a loan, if you put it on non-accrual, that kind of defeats the purpose here because it would automatically show up as a delinquency.
Okay, so he's walking me through this shit, and I feel, again, this guy has a lot of credibility in his industry. He's worked as a risk manager at a bank and now is at a higher up spot. So I just think I just stand on business of what I said. I don't feel like I need to change my tune just because a person disagreed. I'm supportive of what I said is all I'm saying. Anyway, that's my update on that, I think. I don't know if there's anything else to say.